Mills, you have a warning for being late to the line. Coxswain, please acknowledge. Thank you.
Long Beach State. Lane 5, Mills College. Lane 6, UC Santa Barbara B. Lane 7, UC Davis.
UC Santa Barbara. UC San Diego. UC Davis.
Official John Walker is pulling
Cal
the
State
crews.
Long Beach. Mills College. UC Santa Barbara.
Moments away from the start.
UC Davis.
Stand by for 1 second.
Attention.
Attention.
Go.
Okay, you can start it up again and go right back up. You're all good to go.
This is event number 3, Women's D2 3 Club Novice Preliminary. Once again, in lane 1, UC Santa Barbara A. Lane 2, UC San Diego. 3, UC Davis. Lane 4, Long Beach State. Lane 5, Mills College. Lane 6, UC Santa Barbara B. Lane 7, UC Davis. The sun breaks out now. Very clean start. All crews level. Lane 5, Mills is off the pace a little bit, but your early race leader in lane 1, UC Santa Barbara, followed by lane 2, UC San Diego. And then it's lane 3, 4, then lane 6, and then lane 7. 250 meters down. A tight boat race for that first position between the crews in lanes 1, 2, and 3. Crews now historically take a power 10 to see if they can shake their opponents as they establish their race rhythm. Take a stroke check here. Crews now down about 36 strokes per minute, probably be coming down to 34, 35. As we come up to the 500 meter mark, the race leader is still in lane 1, UC Santa Barbara, followed by UC San Diego in 2, then 3, UC Davis. 4th position out here in lane number 6, UC Santa Barbara B. And then in lane 4, Long Beach State, followed by UC Davis in lane 7, and the trailing crew in lane 5, Mills College. That's the call at 500 meters.
On the water right now is event number 3, the Women's Division 2-3 Club Novice Preliminary. And we have 7 crews in this one, starting in lane number 1, just checking lane assignments. University of California, Santa Barbara. In lane 2 is UCSD. In lane 3, it's the Cal campus at Davis. In lane 4, Long Beach State University. In lane number 5, Mills College. And in lane number 6, the University of California, Santa Barbara. And out there in lane number 7, in this very popular division, is the University of California Davis B crew.
So this is the Division 2-3 club event, and the reason why they're separated out from perhaps the Cal Cup or the Jessup Cup is there are more restrictions placed on their training. In Division 2 and Division 3 in the NCAA, there's more emphasis as you go into Division 2, it's about life and balance, and in Division 3, more and more emphasis on the academics of the school. So many of the Division 3 schools would have only gotten onto the water in mid-February. So again, this race with novices, that means that they are first-year collegiate rowers. So many of the juniors you see racing here later this afternoon will move on to collegiate rowing, but they will still be novice rowers as opposed to freshman rowers. So in novice racing, it's quite hard to know the form because it really depends on how many incoming experienced freshmen you have racing for you.
And then a lot of our racing has to do with getting the right chemistry in the boat, and sometimes that's a little bit difficult, especially this early in the season, to be able to accomplish. And that's one of the key activities of coaches, such as Patty has been here at the San Diego Crew Classic for a number of years. On the water, event number 3, Women's Division 2-3 Club Novice Preliminary. There are 7 crews out there moving along. And on the far outside, making a nice run at it, would be Santa Barbara. And then along the shoreline, we're going to look to lane number 1, 2, and 3 in that order. So it would be the other Santa Barbara crew, University of California, San Diego, and Davis.
Yes, this is quite the race between the universities of California. The Santa Barbara Club, which is a club program, San Diego, which is a Division II program, Davis, which was a Division I program demoted to a club, and Santa Barbara's sister crew out there in the outside lane.
Well, the two Santa Barbaras appointing themselves well here today, but kind of sneaking up in the middle of our race course in lane number 3. It looks like Davis has inserted themselves into the situation with the University of California, San Diego in that lane number 2 falling back just a bit, as with the Santa Barbara, we're assuming their A crew along the shoreline. And on the outside, the B crew has tailed off just a little bit. And then we're going to look to Long Beach State, Mills, and Davis as the trailing crews open water back. But our attention now moves to lanes 1, 2, and 3, as all 3 crews have begun to say, "You're not getting away from me." Davis in the center in lane number 1 looks like they have a slight edge over the University of California, San Diego. They would be on their shoreline side, but the Santa Barbara A crew is certainly not going away, and they are edging back into the battle.
Yeah, Santa Barbara has lifted their rating to 35 strokes a minute. UC San Diego lifted theirs about 100 meters before Santa Barbara, and they have come back at Davis, but Santa Barbara, I think, is digging in and just powering through these crews.
Here comes Santa Barbara on the shoreline as they've edged ever so slightly into the lead. Then out to lane number 3, Davis trying to hang on. They had the lead through about the 1,500 meter mark and have trailed back a little bit. One of our early leaders, Santa Barbara on the far outside, has fallen off the pace just a bit, but this is Santa Barbara along the shoreline. Santa Barbara moving smoothly now and stepping it up and getting into that first position. Davis in lane number 3 trying to hold off the University of California, San Diego, but the Tritons seem to be falling back just a little bit. The Santa Barbara B crew on the outside is still stroking along, and they have not really ratcheted up at all, and they seem to be satisfied with the position that they're in. This is Santa Barbara along the shoreline, continuing to lead, but here comes Davis on the outside. Davis beginning to kick it up. They're about 5 seats behind, and then a slight bit of open water to the University of California, San Diego.
And
It is Santa Barbara, Davis, UC San Diego. Then to the outside, Santa Barbara, open water, and then trailing Long Beach State, Mills, and Davis. Check that, Davis, then Mills. Our attention back to the finish line. Looking at Santa Barbara along the shoreline. It looks like they may hold off Davis in a late charge, and to come in the third spot would be the University of San Diego, all unofficial, of course. Across the finish line, the A crew from Santa Barbara, they jumped up early, then trailed back, and then came back to pick up the apparent victory. Davis in lane number 3 comes in second spot unofficially. University of California, San Diego in third. The Santa Barbara A crew on the far outside in fourth. As we take a look at the sterling finish, and on the far side of your screen is the University of California, Santa Barbara A crew, and then you see Davis sliding into the picture, and then comes the nose for the University of California, San Diego.
Yeah, most of the time it's nothing, but yes.
And just having Mills cross the line here, this is quite a courageous row by this crew. They have very limited training in the fall based on their Division III rules, and would have just gotten back on the water in late February, all restricted by the NCAA regulations, focusing on academics in Division III. All of these crews are racing for lanes tomorrow. This was a preliminary.
We'd like to remind the coxswain on the beach here that they must